God blessed us with some of the most fertile and productive land on earth, and we grow things that are essential all over the world. Corn and soybeans lead that parade.
Everyone, when they think about infrastructure, they think roads, runways, and rail. River transportation is the forgotten art.
The inland waterway system is a unique asset of the United States and economically a strategic asset of ours.
It's the most economical way to move freight. It's also the most environmentally friendly way to move freight.
When you think about the carbon footprint and you think about not having traffic on our roadways, it means that this is the most efficient way.
Inland waterway infrastructure, most of it was built during 1930s. It's well past its design life.
You know, we start off by taking a look at these locks and dams, and from afar they may look just fine. Then you get up close and realize you're looking at something that's been around for 80 years.
And so over 80 plus years of operation in a really harsh environment, it starts to degrade, it starts to become less reliable.
A lot of the parts of it are not just decrepit and deteriorating, but they were built for a different generation. We're thinking about 21st century now.
NESP, the Navigation and Ecosystem Sustainability Program, is an authority that the Corps of Engineers has had since 2007. For about the first 4 years of the program's existence, there was about $40 million spent on engineering, and we have a couple of plans on the shelf ready to go if we're allowed to go into construction. We look at the state of the navigation system on the upper Mississippi River and the Illinois River, and what was recognized is that the 600-foot chambers that exist on that system don't really match the 1,200-foot tows that we typically see in this part of the country. So it makes sense for us to build 7 new 1,200-foot locks next to the existing 600-foot locks on 5 locations on the Mississippi River and 2 on the Illinois River.
That will allow two-way traffic on the river going northbound and southbound, but also allow, if one lock shuts down, the other lock will still allow commodities to transit the river.
We've got to do our job on the river to make the locks and dams work, but keep an eye on that river itself.
NESP also includes an ecosystem component. So recognizing that the work we've done on the river to build locks and dams over the years has degraded the environment in some ways.
We've lost the islands, we've lost the backwaters. It means that we've had shoreline erosion.
Rain events creates flooding at different times. All that has an effect on the river.
The aquatic plants in healthy wetlands naturally contain floodwater, which prevents erosion that leads to siltation.
We'll be able to build those backwaters back as a consequence of all of that work that will be going on.
A lot of farmers love the fish. There's also a lot of farmers that love the duck hunt. And the Mississippi and the Illinois River is a big flyway for migrating ducks and waterfowl.
We're talking about a corridor that stretches from Minnesota all the way down to the southern tip of Illinois, that in that region has about 12 million people who are visiting through that corridor for those recreational activities. That's more than some state parks. It's more than Yellowstone.
We have the environmentalists, many of them leading organizations, that are supporting what we're doing.
It finally allows us to work together in agriculture, navigation, and natural resources as it relates to the ecosystem.
They understand we can use the river responsibly and then address the ecosystem around the river to everybody's benefit.
The process requires an appropriation, and specifically within that appropriation, you need a construction new start.
Unfortunately, we haven't come up with the money.
It is a big upfront cost.
The good news is that we get great support from organized labor as well as the businesses and contractors who are doing this work too.
We've been working behind the scenes, talking to Congress and the Corps. We've been working with Corn Growers Association and seeing what we can do to help.
We're currently debating in Congress whether we should do an infrastructure bill. We've been debating that for now over 2 years.
If the full construction cost, and I'm specifically speaking of the navigation construction, if that full cost is made available up front, it's feasible to do all 7 locks and dams in 6 years.
When appropriated, NESP will create almost 50 million man-hours of work. Many of those hours will go to skilled union carpenters.
You always want the right tool for the job, and you want the people that know the skills needed to execute a project of this scale.
The United States has been blessed with some of the most skilled craftsmen in the world. And when we do work, it really is something you can count on for years to come. And it takes training.
skill sets, those who are trained to do the jobs that need to be done.
So that when it's all said and done, you can not only point to it with pride, you can count on it. It's going to be there when you need it for years to come.
The Illinois waterway system consists of 336 miles of navigable water. A series of 8 locks managed by the Army Corps of Engineers controls water flow from Lake Michigan to the Mississippi River system.